Hey, you ever been to Chancellor Park? That's where I live. My name is Tavin Dillard. I live in Chancellor Park. I mow lawns, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. I sure am glad to join me here on this podcast. I want to let you know what's going on in my neck of the woods. Now, I started out years ago on the YouTubes and then the TikToks and the Instagrams now and the whatnots. I got the websites, the tavindillard.com, but right now, I want to clue you into what's happening in my neck of the woods on the Tavin Dillard podcast. You here? I'm here. I'm glad you joined me. Now I'm going to send it over to myself. This is like the pre-introduction, but let's get on to the real show today. I'm glad you joined me here. Bank, bank. Hey, y'all guys. This is the Tavin Dillard podcast. Years ago, I got named by my folks, and that's what you're listening to now is me saying my name, Tavin Dillard. Season 8, episode 14's How was Christmas times? I sure hope it was a good one. The Christmas was so fun and so busy, and I guess I'm going to let y'all know what I got for Christmas in just a little bit. I don't know how long you keep your tree up, if you got a tree in your living room, but the one I got this year, I didn't talk much about it, but it got pretty brittle. You know, it's a regular tree, it wasn't a fake tree, and you got to keep them watered and that kind of thing, and so anyhow, one thing led to another, and you think, like, boy, this ain't gonna do me no good inside the trailer much longer. And things can get on there. I don't even think about putting an unwrapped candy cane on that tree unless you're thinking, I hope some ants come and bring all their family and they just swarm this thing. Don't matter no how though. My name is Tavin. You know that. I've got Tavin's Lawn Care Services, mowing, edging, grass cutting legend. And welcome to what we're getting close to the end of season 8 of this podcast. I don't know if you knew that, but in just a couple weeks, we doing our Q&A. That's where y'all send in questions and I give them answers. And the whole podcast is basically me answering the questions you send in. So it's time. It's time. Just put season 8 Q&A in the subject line of your email and send them in so I know it's for the Q&A. If you texting me, then you just let me know in a text, hey, this is for season 8 Q&A. Here's my question. Then ask the question like that way. That way I won't text you right back with the answer. I might say, okay, got it, and then I'll wait and save it for the podcast. So that info's in the show notes, how to get in touch with me, but it's tavindillard@gmail.com. That's the email's address. And then there's 501-322-6249 is the way you can text message me. Did you get everything you wanted for Christmas? Do you have enough snacks and sweets and ham and all that kind of thing? Snicker bars and Spam and Vienna sausages and apple frittlers? I get you. Now folks is thinking about the New Year's resolutions. I'm hoping my haunches stay just as strong next year in 2024. But right now we ain't even to that. I got to let you know what happened this week. Because Chet Dilroy has them mules. And he done them mule rides before. And this next year, get ready. You may hear more than one story about his mule rides if it take off like he wanted to. He's really trying to expand the business or just let folks know, hey, I'm doing this for money. Like this ain't just, bring your kiddos by, after they soccer game or whatever, and we'll see if we can get them on a mule. It's like, he's taking it serious now. And there's a lot of folks talking about some new business stuff in town we'll get into as the new year rolls in. But Chet Dilroy was working on the mule rides this week. And, of course, I had Christmas. And, again, you can check the show notes. I mentioned that before, how to get in touch with me. But there's Tavin syrup from trees. Folks picked that up over the holiday season. There may be stuff you didn't get, but all the shirts are there. The Crow Funyun, the brand new Possum Peg Leg shirt is out. Bank Beanie sold out, but they may be back now. At least check in, see if they back. And the hoodies and all that, because it'll be winter times long enough. If you need to keep your arms and your ears warm, there's ways to do that at the link in the show notes. How are you liking the podcast, though? Some of y'all are listening for seasons after seasons, so I suppose you don't hate it. But let me know. Leave me a comment, rate it. You can share it. All that stuff helps. So be like, how can I help do any of them things? I appreciate it. I figured out Spotify, this past season here, so that you can find me on that, and I see your comments on there now too. Not just on Apple iTunes, and of course folks just text me or email me about that too. So, your Christmas, I'm hoping it was good. If you didn't get what you wanted, check the link in the show notes to the merch. I got a remote control car. I know. Pretty big deal. Some of the fellas got it for me. I mean, they spent a little more than $24.99 on it, so you know that means it lasted longer than 11 seconds. I mean, most of the remote control cars in my life, after 11 seconds, they done. You so excited, you get the batteries in, you fiddling with it, you figure out how to work the little remote control, the little controller. And then you get that thing out, on the gravel or in the street or somewhere where it can roll a little while, and you run it right into the back of somebody's car, like a car tire, not like a remote control car tire, like a regular people car tire. You know how a little remote control car go, it's way smaller than that. It'll hit the side of that thing and just break into 3-4 pieces, whatever, and it ain't supposed to. But in the sense, it's like, well, how much you pay for this thing? I mean, it ain't going to last longer than 11 seconds. So that's been my experience most of my life. Whether it's a Christmas morning or a birthday or just some time of year where you got saved up your own money and you got a remote control car, and I mean, less than a minute later, you going back in the house, just up the trailer steps like, think. Well, I guess I'll have some Kool-Aid. Go do something else later. That football ain't broke. Maybe we can throw that, kind of thing. Well, JT Whitlow, he got a remote control car too. He may have spent a little more money on his than what the fellas did to buy mine, but it don't matter no how. I was just glad to get a little something like that. It's going to be fun. So we was out in the trailer park ramping on Christmas morning like we was kids, building a little ramp. I mean, I got a bike ramp for my own bike, but you're trying to figure out something for the remote control car. Well, JT said, just the ramp's a ramp. Let's just use it. I'm like, well, I guess so. But to get up high, it got to land. And when it land, that's when gravity take over. And gravity don't lose. That's just the thing about it. There's just things that's worked into this world. Like you mess with it, you feel the consequences of it. So anyhow, JT is laying there. Well, here's the thing. You're like, what do you mean he's laying there? I thought he had a remote control car. Well, I'm fast forwarding a little bit. Let me back up. He decides that he's going to lay on the ground and let his car ramp over him, like Evel Knievel. And he actually, I thought, well, just lay there. You got the remote control. You ain't gotta let anybody use it. Like you can be there and ramp it over yourself because you in control. But he couldn't see it. He couldn't line it up with the ramp when he's laying there on his back. So he let Will Dilroy work the remote. That's Candy's little brother. Just about a year ago, the beginning of this year, truth be told, I was coaching Will Dilroy's T-ball team. And it is a mess. It's like you have a bag of marbles at the top of a real steep hill, and you cut them marbles loose, and you try to gather them back in. That's what coaching T-ball's like. But Will and Candy, they catch animals. Candy caught many an adult crow, among other things. Feral cat ended up being her friend at the 4th of July parade. She brought that thing home. It had kittens. One ended up in the car trip on the way for Meemaw and her friends, Tabby Jean Tipton and Claudia, on the way to Gatlinburg. And, some point in the trip, they look back there and there's a kitten in the car that got in a trailer park and made its way that far. So it's a mess. But these kids will catch things. Their granddaddy is Chet. And their grandmammy is Gracie. Gracie run out of the bird, gets the perm. So anyhow, all that don't matter no how, but I'm telling you right now, Will got the remote control for JT's new remote control car. And JT's laying, past the ramp a little bit to watch his new remote control car fly over him. Like, I don't know what you're thinking, JT. I mean, you just got a new toy for Christmas, and you hand that thing over to a little kiddo so you can see it ramp. Just stand up, buddy. You can see it ramp better if you ain't laying on the ground. I mean, put a trash can there or something, that it can ramp over, but don't be like that. But it ain't my remote control car, and that's what JT wanted to do. He's a full-grown adult man, so he did that. Well, JT's laying there, and Will, he set that remote control down. So now, all of a sudden, ain't nobody holding the remote control. Now, JT didn't see this, and it happened fast enough where, I'm just watching, wondering what in the world's happening. And I'm also thinking, you kind of like a deer in headlights, like you ain't seen this before. This ain't something that happen every day, so you don't know how it's supposed to go. How you looking at something, you're like, how's that supposed to go? Well, I guess that's how it's supposed to go. Not necessarily. Not at all. So, JT laying there. Will sets that remote control down, and he decided to run up the ramp himself and jump over JT Whitlow like he gonna beat a remote control car. Like he just, I don't know what got into him, but he's like, I can run up that ramp and just jump so high and you'll clear that thing like he an Olympic athlete. I don't know, like that way. Well, the ramp's built for a bike, so it should be strength enough for a kiddo. But so Will gonna run on that ramp. JT don't know nothing about this. He just laying there, and but Will ain't got the haunch strength to clear a full-grown man, clear much anything. He a little guy, 5 or something like that. I don't know. So he get up on that ramp and he pitter patter, and he hit that ramp, but he don't know when to launch the haunch. You got to first know when to really accelerate, and then at what point in the ramp you're gonna launch off that thing. And he didn't know. He didn't know what he was doing. So what that means is that he landed right on JT's unsuspecting gut, and JT is hurting. It's one of them rare cases where the remote control car is fine, but the owner's down, and JT told Will he lost his chance to ramp that car. I mean, it took everything in JT's guts and diaphragms to get that out, too. He said he hurting. Because if you ain't ready, buddy, it'll send you in a tailspin for a little while. JT did that once to me a long time ago, where he winged a football at me in the trailer park, and I wasn't ready. I doubled over for a goodly 45 seconds. And 45 seconds, just sitting there trying to get your breath, that's a long time. Might as well be a year. So he experienced that. I experienced that. Not today. I ain't had Will Gilroy land on my gut like that away, and I surely ain't, not ready. Like, at least if somebody coming at you, you kind of flex, you tense up. JT didn't think it. The only thing JT thought might happen is a little light remote control car just kind of falled over on him, because it don't clear the ramp at the right speed or whatever. Well, Chet Dilroy, I told you he the granddaddy, he done the mule rides before out on his land. And he decided to offer mule rides. Now, he don't bring those mule rides to Chancellor Park, and he ain't trying to teach them mules how to ramp. I can't imagine a mule landing on you. But anyways, I'll tell you this much. JT's car got a lot of use, and it didn't break by the end of the day. Some folks just better remote control car drivers. I ain't that good, but I did quit while I was ahead. And my brother Brett don't know why I got that remote control car yet, because once he do, he'll take it apart to try to figure out how it works, or try to take it apart for something else. I don't know why he take things apart so much, but he do. So anyhow, all was safe, at least for Christmas days, for the new remote controls in Chancellor Park. Well, meanwhile, out on Chet Dilroy's property, he wanting to offer New Year's mule rides, he's saying. So now he's thinking ahead. Now he's looking at next week. How can I offer New Year's mule rides? And it's not just like New Year's Day. All next year, he wants to make that something he do. There's a lot of business folks in our town. Jerry, Don, and Sybil Farnhart, they run the flea market. That ain't the first business they own. They son Rance owns fishing clips. That's the bait and tackle. Gracie Dilroy and her sister Delandra, they own the Early Bird Gets the Perm. And Chet now, he's looking at doing Mule Ride City or whatever. I don't know what the name of it's going to be. But anyhow, he's been working with a few new mules, and he needed some guinea pigs. Not literal guinea pigs, because, if you put a guinea pig on the back of a mule, I can't imagine that go well. But folks to basically take these mules out and see how they handle. Test out the mules. Well, it ain't for the likes of folks like, Myron Curtis, Mary Beth Tucker. Even though she went to school for horses, truth be told, Myron and Mary Beth, both, they kind of the folks who do expose the animal's weaknesses that come out around them too. But Myron and Mary Beth get hurt in the processes. You know what I mean? Like, they can be a little injury prone. And it's happened. Coach Hicks now, he volunteered. And, he run Thunder Punch, which is the boxing gym in town. And he have tournaments. And he also the head lifeguard at the city pool. He was my PE coach in high school. He ran to Long John Silver's in the next county over. He got a double cab truck. Even in high school he did, because he bringing in that double income between being a PE teacher and Long John Silver manager. So he had a double cab with air conditioned at work in there. So, Coach Hicks has just kind of been, for a lot of folks in town, just a symbol of success. And he raised his hand. He's the first one, as they say, to say, yep, count me in for the mule ride testing. I'm here for it kind of thing. He got on shorts, boots, tank top, cowboy hat. Who cares about winter? Coach Hicks is here. And so he don't care. Me, I'm Tabin Dillard. I volunteered to go on an old mule. I ain't trying to break in a new one. So when I say that Chet Dilroy got some new mules, that don't mean every one of them's brand new to the world. They just brand new to Chet Dilroy. So I was like, hey, let me try out that old one, make sure it's good for folks that don't want to go like try to break records and the speed of sound and all that kind of thing. And Jerry Don and Sybil Farnhart, they got out there. So it was me and Coach Hicks and Jerry Don and Sybil who were like the mule testers, I guess. You know, and I don't know if I can put that on a resume. I ain't asked too many questions about it. And I don't know if I want to after what happened. But we was out there. So we start early with Chet. And basically I'm there to see if this would be a good path for the average person. Because that's what I am. I ain't no muleologist. Didn't go to school for mules. Didn't get a PhD in muley. That kind of thing. Pretty uneventful out there, which is all I'm there for. You know, you're just there for kind of a different way to get around, enjoy the sights, beautiful scenery, all that kind of thing. So it was uneventful, I say, at least, you know, for me the whole time in a way. But for all of us, it was uneventful until Coach Hicks kicked off his boots, and then he put them in a saddlebag that was draped over his mule, and then he started trying to ride side saddle like he's a rodeo clown or something. Or, you know, one of them clowns at the circus. I don't know, but he riding side saddle on a mule that he just need to take, you know, easy through the little walking path that I don't know how long that loop is. Might be close to a mile, you know, that Chet's got figured out on his property. Well, Chet told him, he's like, slow down. So you imagine, it's me, Coach Hicks, Jerry Don and Sybil, and Chet. So really, Chet ain't trying to break in a mule. He's just hanging with us because we got the 4 new ones under us. But he there supervising, you know, it's his business, so he keeping an eye on it. So he there to kind of be a help. And he's telling Coach Hicks, he goes, slow down on that, be easy. Well, Coach Hicks, he got 1 gear, and that's full steam ahead. So now that mule is hoofing it, and he's off the trail. And Chet told everyone else, do not follow him. Don't follow Coach Hicks. So we trying to keep them mules from just like, hey, don't follow your buddy over there. They being coached by Coach Hicks, and Coach Hicks got a mind of his own. But that's how he is. You know, he thinks the way I get somebody to be better is I get them to push past their boundaries. Well, he sure pushed past the boundaries and right off the path and into the terrain there with this new mule. And it's like Chet said, you know, well, at least 4 of us are going to survive this trial run. Like, you know, the rest of them. Coach Hicks is gone, but we ain't having the other mules go down that road. So Jerry Don, you know, we ain't too far into it. He's like, I got to go bathroom. And they don't have like, you know, you can imagine, you know, early pioneers, you know, out on hooping it across frontier land in Mule. They didn't have little porta potties or rest stops. Like, well, we got to hold it till the next one. No, you in the bathroom, just wherever you need to go, kind of thing. So Jerry hopped off to go potty, and Chet shakes his head, you know, like, man, this ain't going exactly how I wanted it to. We can't really test mules if you ain't on it and you over there in the bushes going to the bathroom, Jerry Don. And so then Jerry Don, he go take care of business, and then he had to get back on the back of Sybil's mule, because while Jerry Don's going to the bathroom, his mule takes off. It's like, well, I'm gone. I know I saw my buddy just hoof it off the path with Coach Hicks. I'm going to go see what they doing. I don't know. You know, I'm not in the mind of a mule. He didn't say that, of course, and I don't know what he thought in his head for it to make sense to him to run away. But now we like 3 minutes into a mule ride, and we 2 mules down. So that's how that's going so far. And Chet just, you know, he beside himself. Like, this ain't what I, you know, bargained for. And him and Jerry Don go way back. You know, they all lived in town a while, but it don't mean that Jerry Don made a good choice by hopping off and going potty. Like, you're supposed to do that before you get on the mule. But if you ain't mule riding every day, you ain't always thinking about that. Well, what's my mule ride checklist? Well, you ain't got one. This ain't something you do, you know. So now Jerry Don is lumbering on the back of the mule that Sybil's on. And it's like 2 of them on 1 mule. And the mule, like I said, I don't speak what mule, but I saw his eyes, and he's like, bank, bank, kind of thing. Like, I didn't sign up for 2 of y'all on the back of me. truth be told, I don't think they sign. I don't think they can hold a pen in their hooves. That's just like a example, you know. That's just that's symbolic. I don't really think the mule signed nothing. But anyway, Sybil wasn't mad, but she was asking Jerry Don why his mule did that, you know. So she's trying to get in the mind of the mule. And of course, he don't know why. And he's like, I didn't talk to that mule. He just took off. He's a four-legged beast that likes to run the prairie or whatever. So they arguing, but they saying they ain't arguing. But I was right there, and I was steady listening to them argue. But you know how folks that end up getting in an argument in public, but then they try to dial it back because they realize everybody watching them, and they're like, oh, no, everything's fine. And we all like, no, everything ain't fine. Jerry Don, boy, you better hope you stay in public, because you're going to get it when you get in some private area like a car or the house, buddy. You're going to hear an earful. So here we are on this test run of a New Year's mule hike, and we are down, like I said, 2 mules and 1 Coach Hicks. And Chet realizes he forgot to pack any snacks. Now all of a sudden, you know how you start pointing fingers at other people like, why you take your mule off the track? Why you getting off and going to the bathroom, Jerry Don? And then you realize, like, oh no, I guess I ain't perfect neither. And I forgot the snacks for this mule ride. So it's kind of like one of them things like, well, I'm glad you found out now with your friends than when you got paying customers and they hungry out here on Mule City or whatever. I don't know what you're going to call it. I had some bacon in my pocket, though, so I ate it. I did offer to some of the others, but they passed. I guess like I should have put it in a bag or something, but it's just straight out my pocket, and they just thought, man, I'll pass. But the weather was nice. I could see how this could be a real relaxing ride. I really do. You know, you out there with the winter chill, and I mean, you got the right clothes on. You feeling good. You know, you warm enough. Now, Coach Hicks, I guess in his mind he had the right clothes on. But last I seen him, he was barefoot because his boots was in a saddlebag. He had on shorts and a tank top and a cowboy hat. And he was side saddle on a mule that was taking off at 100 miles an hour. So anyways, we got back, those of us that never got lost. Me, Jerry Don and Sybil on 1 mule, Coach Hicks. And Coach Hicks ended up at the start line. He came tattered a little bit, you know, just a little dirty, like nothing was real ripped. Nothing. His jean shorts were all in one piece, and his tank top was too. Looked like his cowboy hat was a little dirty, maybe got stepped on or something. But he don't want to talk about it. So you just got to look at him and say, well, this probably happened, that probably happened. But he's like, no, I don't want to talk about it. Like he on to the next thing. Like borderline embarrassed, but playing it off to where it's like, oh, I got a busy day ahead. I'm glad I could help y'all out kind of thing. He lost his boots, so he couldn't get out. He couldn't get out of there too fast because he's going to have to go back and find them. And then Chet said he didn't need to go side saddle. He told him to his face, like, Coach Hicks, you don't need to go side saddle like that. This is just a casual ride. You know, this ain't something that you're trying to win awards or get style points or nothing like that away. But it was all fun to Coach Hicks. Coach Hicks kind of smiled like, no, it's good. You know, I needed to see what that mule could do kind of thing. Like he still wasn't going to give it up. But like I said, he run that thunder punch after all. He used to taking the punches and rolling with them. So there's going to be New Year's mule rides. But I know a few folks who won't be on them. And I know at least one mule that ain't going to want to go neither. He got the mule back though. Chet, that, you know, them things, they do their own thing. And they know where the food is. And they come back eventually. And nothing was hurt. It ain't like a Chet hurt that mule or it broke or nothing like that. But it was just a frustrating trial run for Chet Dilroy out on the New Year's mule ride. But a lot to look forward to. I made it back to Chancellor Park, did a little remote control car, and now I know I'm on borrowed time at this point. I mean, I've taken that thing out twice now. You know, Christmas morning, Christmas evening, and it ain't broke yet. So, hey, I'm telling you right now, so far, so good. I ain't trying to press my luck. But I can't just, you know, it ain't a remote control car ain't no good just sitting on my couch. It's got to get out there and stretch its wheels and see the world. And so we'll see. We'll see if I can find its limits. I'm just surprised I ain't already. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate y'all joining me today on the Tab Dillard podcast. And thank y'all for reaching out to me. Ewan hollered at me this week. Him and his dad, Justin, they listened to the podcast. Justin, thanks for listening, buddy. I sure appreciate it. And all y'all that is listening, y'all know how to get in touch with me. You can shoot me an email. You can shoot me a text message, 501-322-6249. And check the show notes for everything. all the merch, the hats, the hoodies, the whatnot, the syrup, Tavin's bacon bags, personal video greetings, lot going on. If you didn't find what you wanted in your stocking, you can check the show notes. And hey, if you ain't had Will Dilroy land on your gut off a remote control car ramp this week, you having a pretty good week. Me, I'm Tavin Dillard. This is a Tavin Dillard podcast. Till next time, y'all guys. We'll see you later.